Hey there guys, I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Novocaine. So this is a movie that did interest me to go and watch, and there was an early screening for this film which I took the opportunity to go and see. Now, I think Novocaine interested me mostly because it starred Jack Quaid, who is very well known in The Boys, and I really love The Boys. I think The Boys is a really good series, delivering humor, violence, and it's a really great take on satire superhero movies. And I do kind of like those sort of genres, like you have The Boys, also Deadpool. I mean, it's not really technically a superhero movie, Novocaine, but it does kind of take like a concept of like, you know, having the ability to not feel pain as a superpower. So I think the idea of what Novocaine was going to deliver was going to interest me. And I think from the title of the video, I think I've kind of given away my thoughts already. I enjoyed it. I think this movie is great. Really enjoyed it, but it's not perfect. I'm gonna kind of really get into the things I wasn't really a big fan of later in the video, because there is like one nitpick that I do have. But throughout the majority of the movie, it's very good. Mostly, I think Jack Quaid really does excel in this movie, and his presence is like really known in this film. And he plays as Nathan Kane, or really his nickname Novocaine. And essentially, who he is essentially a banker who has the ability to not feel pain. And essentially, when he works in his bank, he has a co-worker named Sherry that they essentially go out on a date. And essentially, what happens with their role as working in the bank, there are a group of robbers or a gang that target the bank, kidnapping Sherry, and essentially, Nathan Kane has to try and rescue his girlfriend or his date. Whatever way you look at it, that's kind of the whole story of the movie. Very generic, but most of the movie, when you do watch it, it doesn't really kind of focus on that. It kind of focuses more on really the action, the violence, and the humor side of things. And I think a lot of it, for what it's done, is very good. Like, this movie is really, really self-aware in terms of delivering funny moments when it needs to. Like some lines, like some comedy lines or joke lines that kind of come in. Not all of it lands, but I will say for the majority of it, it does work. And when it comes to like a lot of the violence and a lot of the scenes, it is very self-aware, and they really do get like some very like gruesome, grotesque scenes, like limbs being exposed. Also, like seeing bullet wounds like to the head and stuff like that, with blood gushing out, and also like taking bullets out of an arm and using a knife to you know open up the wounds. Like, essentially, there's a lot of like gruesome scenes that they really do get close up and very aware with, and I think it does all that really, really well. And and I really think that they do create some good moments. Like, there was a good moment like with a house scene where Nathan is trying to find his girlfriend Sherry, or trying to find Sherry. They get into a house. The house is full of booby traps, and essentially something you see from Home Alone. They walk in, and essentially he's just being caught with a lot of traps, and he always be like, "Oh, ow, ow! I can't. I got a spiked ball on my back," and still doesn't feel pain. Or the next one, he gets like an arrow to the leg, and he just doesn't feel anything. So I really think the humor side of things, and the violence, the gory moments, they essentially deliver. As much as I have a lot of positives for this film, I do have like some things I want to talk about. I do think there wasn't really much of an attempt to really build a story in this movie. I really feel like the main story that really comes in is essentially that Nathan Kane is the banker. He has a co-worker named Sherry, who essentially they date and they get to know each other. And essentially the bank is targeted by robbers, and they kidnap her. And Nathan is trying to find ways to rescue her. And I don't really feel like a majority of the times watching this movie, it kind of focuses on that. It's more like they try to focus more on the humorous, violent side of things. And I could kind of appreciate that a little bit, but I do feel like the story just wasn't really there. I mean, it's a very sort of generic, flat story, to be quite honest. And I don't really think, even though they try and portray a relationship between Nathan and Sherry, it doesn't really mesh very well. I'll be honest, I didn't really feel the relationship vibe between them two watching the movie. I feel like they were just essentially just play on characters. Um, I will also say as well, like I know I do speak a lot of positives about the movie's humor, violence, and gore, and action and humor. I do feel like a lot of times it does come across as very generic as it is. Like if you're really familiar watching The Boys or familiar with saying watching like Deadpool and hearing like some of the lines and the comedies and the gags that really go on, you kind of can see a play on of how it's kind of a very much a tedious feel of like other films as well. So I don't really feel like they really it doesn't really breach any grounds of originality at all when you watch it. But again, like I don't really think like you can really expect an original idea like this to come up as an action comedy. I think you just watch it for what it is. And I think if you enjoy it like I did. But you kind of do feel like the tropes does consist itself from other films that you may have watched in the past. But one thing I could definitely say, if you definitely enjoy action comedies, you definitely enjoy The Boys or even Jack Quaid, I think you would definitely like Novocaine. And personally, I would recommend it if you really do like that genre. It's not going to be everyone's taste, I guess. I mean, not everyone's going to like action, very violent sort of movies. I think that's going to be down to taste of individuals. But I would definitely recommend it if you do love the genre, essentially. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Novocaine. If you have watched it, I don't think it's out yet as of right now, but if you have watched it or are about to go watch it, let me know what you think of the movie. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you want to dislike. Thank you for watching, and yeah, that's about it. See you later.